As we approach the end of our back to school month, we know there are some bad things going on in our schools. Like there's gang activity, heavy drug activity, bullying in the extreme where the violence is real. And maybe you have to make sure those kids get pulled out of those situations. Which brings us to our greatest hits as we come to an end of our back to school months. Imagine going into the post office and seeing these crimes on those 10 most wanted flyers: classroom edition, burping, doodling, throwing a tantrum. Bad behavior to be sure, but is it worthy of arrest at 5 years old? Everything that was listed years ago are crimes that got kids handcuffed by police. Of course, we want law and order in our classrooms. We want discipline and safety. But at what cost? Here's Chris Cuomo.
Bad things can happen at school. Guns, drugs, bullying. And as you can see in all those videos on the internet, classrooms run amok.
Shut up and sit down.
So it is for good reason that more and more police are on the beat in hallways and classrooms across the country. But in this climate of controlling behavior, have we gone too far? Case in point, the Texas girl's in the news right now for getting spanked.
After she got caught helping another student cheat, Taylor got a paddle to the backside.
Too hard, their mothers say, by a male vice principal.
Giving her a swat behind closed doors? That is creepy.
Yep, spanking, still legal in schools in 19 states. The 9-year-old in Gastonia, North Carolina, suspended for sexual harassment because, get this, he was overheard telling a friend,
I said Miss Terry was cute.
his teacher was cute. The school later apologized and forced the principal to retire. And this video stunned the nation in 2005. Remember the 5-year-old girl handcuffed by St. Petersburg, Florida police for throwing a tantrum in preschool? How can this be? Advocates say the combination of cops and kids in the classroom is having all kinds of unintended consequences. Some of them so ridiculous, you literally can't make this stuff up.
Your daughter's school decided to have her arrested?
When she was just 12 years old, Alexa was arrested in her New York City middle school, searched, handcuffed, taken away by 4 of New York's finest.
Had you ever been in a police station?
No.
Had you ever been arrested?
No.
Alexa's now 15, but remembers her crime like it was yesterday. Doodling on a desk. With an erasable marker, no less.
So you wrote on the desk. It's not like pulling a knife on somebody, but you're not supposed to write on the desk, true?
Yes.
Are you a graffiti artist?
No.
Did you used to spray paint right all over the walls in school?
Never.
Were you known as that?
No.
Alexa, like some funny tag name that you had that you used?
No.
Alexa had the very bad luck to be attending a school with a zero tolerance for graffiti. And, as her mother would tell you, a similar score in common sense. She says the school officers search her, make her take off some of her clothes. Then, they don't just call her mother, Moraima Camacho. They call the cops from the precinct across the street.
When I saw the police officer go for the handcuffs, and I said, you gotta be kidding me.
So they arrest your daughter, they put her in handcuffs. Like a thug.
Right. And she was not resisting arrest.
Turned me over and hands behind my back.
And you got handcuffed?
Metal handcuffs.
At 12?
Yes.
For doodling on a desk?
Erasable marker.
She was crying. She was so scared.
Maybe you find it hard to understand how a little girl gets arrested for writing on a desk. After all, it's not like she perpetrated some heinous crime, something really inexcusable like illegal burping.
I burped and I said, excuse me. She said to quit talking, I'm disrupting.
Francisco Montano is 15 now, plays baseball. He's a slugger. But 2 years ago, when he was 13 in the 7th grade at Cleveland Middle School in Albuquerque, New Mexico, he says he got busted for burping. The school and the police say it was more than that. He was disrupting the class and refused to obey the teacher. And for that, he got arrested.
Officer came up to me. He said because I was disrupting the educational process, he handcuffed me and he drove me to the detention center.
Then the detention center called his mother, Annette Montano.
And he said our son was arrested and detained for belching in class I said, "Are you seriously telling me he's in jail for burping?" And he said, "Yeah, that's what it looks like to me, ma'am."
Francisco was never prosecuted. Instead, he's now suing the school and the police. The Albuquerque police say they only make arrests if the disruption is so bad the teacher can't teach and students can't learn. America's Most Wanted? They are not, says civil rights advocate Judith Brown Deannis.
It is ridiculous. It is extreme discipline. We have gone over the top with this, and instead of teaching children the right behaviors, instead of nurturing them, we're hauling them off in handcuffs.
Francisco Negron is with the National School Boards Association.
I don't think there's a public school to prison pipeline, and I certainly don't think that the presence of school resource officers is in some way contributing to that.
We know there are some bad things going on in our schools. There's gang activity, heavy drug activity, bullying in the extreme where the violence is real, and maybe you have to make sure that those kids get pulled out of the
But that's not
mainstream.
what we're talking about. Everyone wants safety in the schools. We want discipline in our schools, but we don't need to see our children put into the juvenile justice system for very minor behavior that could have been handled by a parent.
An Education Department civil rights survey earlier this year shows nearly 100,000 kids arrested in schools. In New York, Alexa, our doodler, fought back. She sued the city.
This is not about the money. We don't want this to happen again to any other child.
While admitting no wrongdoing, the city paid Alexa a six-figure settlement. The criminal charges were dropped, and the case is sealed. But that arrest is still on Alexa's record.
She has an arrest record.
Her attorney, Joseph Rosenthal, says the school's wrong will haunt Alexa for years to come.
For the rest of her life, she has to say, yes, I was arrested.
That's a great way for up back to school hits. Next, our back to school hits continues with bullying. We talked about this for 5 years. I want to look back at the articles that we talked about on bullying, and we're going to have that for you coming up. We are approaching the end of our back to school month, as well as our season finale of Give Me the 5th season finale, which is going to happen August 9th. So, let's look at some articles. Even better yet, let's look at some videos and articles about bullying in school. Because let me tell you, I take this bullying business very, very seriously. Very seriously. So, when I say take bullying very seriously, I take bullying very seriously. Last month, a young boy hospitalized after being bullied, her mother says. Take a look. Again, let me tell you, I take this bullying business. Scoot the chair over. I take this bullying business very seriously. I take what was done very seriously. Take a look.
Of an 8-year-old boy in tears and angry after she says her son was maliciously bullied.
The boy is hospitalized in serious condition. Fox 11's Haley Winslow joining us live from Loma Linda Medical Center with details. Haley, what happened here?
Yeah, 12 more hours, you guys, and doctors would have had to amputate this little boy's leg. Now, the kids on the baseball team call him Captain Carter because they look up to him so much. He's the kind of kid who's friends with everybody, who everybody loves, except for one kid who has completely turned his life upside down.
When he told me what happened, my stomach dropped. Because this was something I was trying to prevent from happening all year.
Under Loma Linda Hospital's 24-hour care, little Carter Flores is in agonizing pain. Doctors have performed multiple surgeries on the 8-year-old boy, and he'll need long-term care.
For them to tell you that he might come out of surgery with a hole in his leg because they would have to cut out as much tissue, or that they might have to amputate his leg, or that if it gets in his blood, he could die. I had to come to terms with my son being critically ill at one point. And it was the most heartbreaking thing because he doesn't understand why somebody would want to hurt him. He just wants to be friends with everybody at his school.
But Madeline Flores says a new kid in Carter's class didn't want to be friends. She says he's been bullying her son at Corona Ranch Elementary School all year. And this is the third time it's gotten physical.
He needed to see the whiteboard better, so he went to go reference it. And when he came down on his knee at some point, the little boy had the pencil in his hand and was holding it like this. And Carter's knee came directly onto it with force, and it was held still. And so it actually chipped the patella bone. It went all the way through.
The pencil fractured Carter's knee bone, and after a misdiagnosis elsewhere, Carter's now also fighting strep A, a potentially deadly bacterial infection. Flores says she's warned the school about this bully after the prior incidents. Corona Ranch calls this one an accident. A spokesperson for the elementary school says in part, after a thorough investigation of the incident of the students involved and several witnesses, it was determined to be an unfortunate accident. Is there any part of you that thinks that this could have been an accident?
To me, an accident is something that wasn't able to be prevented, and this was completely preventable. And, I'm going to choose to trust that my son would never lie to me with something like this. I mean, given the position that he's in, he just wants to make sure it doesn't happen to his friends.
The last day of school is Friday, but Carter will likely never be going back to the friends and the baseball team that he loves so much. He was supposed to play in the All-Stars, and instead he will be spending the summer at home hooked up to antibiotics. Reporting live in Loma Linda, I'm Haley Winslow, Fox 11 News.
Very true, very sad. And an accident is something that doesn't need to happen again. They say it was an accident. It wasn't an accident. Someone bullied him. A pencil was in his leg, and yet the school says, oh, it was just an accident. It's not an accident. You should be looking up to this. Every school district in this country, every state, every school district in every state, California, Idaho, Texas, New Hampshire, everywhere, they all have bullying policies put in place. Zero tolerance. And for people to say, oh, it was just an accident. Well, it was just an accident. We don't want anything to happen, blah, 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 blah. Look, I get it. You don't want to be sued for a lot of money, but accidents happen. Accidents really happen. But look, it wasn't an accident. This was the real deal. If he'd had died and you were to say, oh, his death was an accident, you would be in court. And then you would be saying, well, we told channel. You'd be saying, well, we told Fox 11 this and it was an accident. We didn't know he died. You didn't know he died. Okay. 5 months ago, at Freedom Middle School, there were videos that showed a boy who was apparently bullied at his school.
Washington State. It shows a 13-year-old boy being bullied by students. The teacher seems to be in on it all. And this morning, the boy's parents are speaking out, demanding action. ABC's Neil Karolinsky joins us from Seattle with the story.
George, good morning. To say that this boy's parents are worried and upset and worried about their son just doesn't do it justice. They say he is so traumatized by what happened, he can't sleep at night and is now in therapy.
Leave his pants on!
The video, taken by fellow students on their cell phones, of a 13-year-old boy being dragged around the room, even having a sock stuffed in his mouth, is so disturbing, it's hard to imagine a fellow student didn't jump in to stop it. But what really outrages the boy's parents is that a teacher was there too, and they say he joined in.
When I drop my kids off, I'm dropping them off as a parent, handing my kids to a school that's going to take care of them.
The incident happened in a middle school near Tacoma, Washington in February, but is just now coming to light following a district investigation. At times in the video, which goes on for at least 15 minutes, it seems as if the boy is playing along.
Yeah, do that! Do what Eric's doing!
But a handful of students are also seen writing on his feet, even holding a pillow over his face and covering him with chairs. The teacher, 18-year veteran John Rossi, seemingly mugs for the phone cameras.
And by the way, I'm feeling kind of gassy.
Just said he wanted to kill himself, and the kids had blamed him for this popular teacher and the suspension that he received.
Rossi, who told ABC News he's not allowed to comment, wrote in a letter to investigators, "I can honestly say that at the time I did not believe that any of the children were at risk of harm during their interactions, nor did I view the incident as anything more than harmless childhood horseplay." Memos from the Peninsula School District say he avoided losing his job by accepting a 10-day suspension.
We took what we think is pretty significant disciplinary action.
The boy's parents say the entire matter has been made worse by the fact that Rossi is back at another school.
I think that somebody that could allow this to happen and participate has no business being in a classroom.
The school district tells us that other parents are now expressing their concerns about having this teacher as well, and police are also now investigating to determine whether the school district reported this case properly.
All right. Next. In Mississippi, there was a lawsuit that happened that's related to bullying. Now, as we continue our back to school month, our greatest hits, a revisit to Snellville with an article related to this. Please stay with us. Now for an update on the story we're following. We told you, we gave you all details in Uvalde. Well, here are two updates from Uvalde. Uvalde school shooting, Texas governor attended a fundraising event, which we already talked about. Now, just hours ago, the last Uvalde victim discharged from the hospital. Maya Nicole Zamore, a 10-year-old. She was discharged Friday from University Health where she arrived on May 24th. She was the last remaining patient who was hospitalized as a result of the massacre at Robb Elementary School, where 19 children and 2 teachers were in the classrooms. Their Twitter page says, "Today was a happy day at University Hospital. Our final patient from the Uvalde shooting, 10-year-old Maya Zamore, was discharged. She passed out roses at 11 cell thanks to HEB. She is our hero, and we can't wait to see all she accomplishes in the future." And the hashtag is going around, Maya Strong. I'd imagine she came on the show to tell, like, if Maya, if you're watching this, congratulations. Texas and Texan. Now, just yesterday, there was a video that was released shows a response, but I don't have a subscription, but when I do, we'll play it for you. So that's all the updates we have on Uvalde. When we come back, parents confront school in Snellville, but first, there was a lawsuit against that was related to bullying, so stay with us. Just weeks ago, there was a lawsuit in Mississippi that didn't stop a student bullying. According to the AP News in Pass Christensen, a lawsuit that alleges that a Mississippi high school soccer player with rare skin disease was bullied and physically assaulted for months, with school officials failing to respond. The parents of the 15-year-old boy have sued the Pass Christian School District, a principal, and Jones College in Ellisville, seeking unspecified damages, saying all three failed to protect their son. The Sun Herald reporting the lawsuit says that the student has diarrhea disease, which can cause wart-like blemishes to flare up on skin that is contaminated or irritated. The parents say soccer teammates would rub muscle pain ointment or bleach on their son's socks or drag his clothes through the dirt, mostly during the soccer practice before getting into the 2020-21 school year. That was during the pandemic. The assault intensified when the team at alleged soccer camp in June 2021 at Jones College, a community college in Ellisville. The suit alleges they claimed players stripped off the boys' clothes, poured hot liquids in the boy's face, or shoved a canned sausage in his throat, and that the players showed videos of the assaults on social media. The superintendent said in a statement Monday that an incident involving athletes was reported after the June 2021 camp. It says, the high school principal and the athletic coordinator conducted an immediate in-depth investigation which was presented at both school and district disciplinary hearings. The school said the school and the district followed their code of conduct and disciplined the involved students. Evers said the school district believes that the students should be accepted, valued, and safe, and that no child should be subject to reported treatment. She also, district is aware of the lawsuit and looks forward to having an opportunity to share all the facts in court. The case brought up to the light importance of talking to your children about making good decisions and reporting when they see something that does not meet our expectations. The president of the college says one of the boys' parents reported attacks on their son while the teen was attending a soccer camp at the community college in June 21. He said the case reported to Jones County District Attorney and to Jones County Youth Court. It's unclear the alleged assailants faced youth court charges. Wayne Bates, a special prosecutor named in the case, declined comment citing privacy laws in youth court. Nobody was charged as an adult because they were all juveniles. WLOX TV reporting lawyers for the family June 21 sent a notice for the past Christian school district, including one of the videos. The claim offered to settle the case for $500,000 if the school district adopted zero tolerance anti-bullying policy and required all students and staff to participate in mandatory training. The lawsuit says the victim recovered part of the video. The other boys supposedly joked by electronic message about the soccer camp or threatened to beat up anyone who turned them in, it states. Okay. This was very disturbing and all, but again, this is bullying, and I take this very seriously. And it's gonna go, well, not right now. I'll show you the post on Give It Back Sunday. All right, another one back to school greatest hits was when parents confront the schools. Now, you may remember I told you about parents in Snellville who confronted the Snellville Elementary because they lost their child on the bus. Well, after seeing that report, they say that they were not allowed on campus because of that Bible video. That's just outrageous. But what's not outrageous is part of our greatest hits. We're looking at our local school boards. We concentrate on our school boards because they make all the right decisions. I'll never forget when I watched this angry father who spoke out a year ago at an Idaho school board meeting. Watch.
Risk their lives.
Let's watch.
Brandon Michon? You should all be fired from your day jobs because if your employers knew that you were more inefficient than the DMV, you would be replaced in a heartbeat. I literally just finished a conference call because I'm having to multitask to be here to address you guys. You're a bunch of cowards hiding behind our children as an excuse for keeping schools closed. You think you're some sort of martyrs because of the decisions you're making when the statistics do not lie that the vast majority of the population is not at risk from this virus. The garbage workers who pick up my freaking trash risk their lives every day more than anyone in this school system. Figure it out or get off the podium. Because you know what? There are people like me and a line of other people out there who will gladly take your seat and figure it out. It's not a high bar. Raise the freaking bar.
Okay. That was enough right there.
I'm going to give staff an opportunity to make sure that the podium and microphone have been...
Okay. Now there was another one from NewJersey.com. In that, it was all about the shooting range. The kids who were suspended from being at a shooting range. 39 seconds long. Watch.
See 4 things happen. I would like to see the board specifically admit that they made an error and they've done something they shouldn't have. They do not need to disclose the students' names or their privacy to do that. To apologize for that error. To make a statement that they are going to aspire to no longer violate the Supreme Court decision or the constitutional rights of the parents or the children. And the person or people who made that decision should resign or be terminated effectively.
That was all about the shooting range. Next one comes when students and parents erupt at a heated Colorado board meeting. This was all about AP US history.
This is what democracy looks like.
Out here in Jefferson County, Colorado, a proposal to review the AP US history curriculum has sparked a string of protests. Before a special school board meeting Thursday night, hundreds marched in opposition to the proposal.
For kids! For kids!
Inside, students and parents railed against the conservative majority.
Our board majority refers to our children as lawbreakers, ignorant pawns, insulting and denigrating them. You should be ashamed of yourselves.
The students of Jeff Corps standing up for themselves, for their friends, families, teachers, and most importantly, their education.
We have 40,000 people across the country who sided with us in saying that this is wrong for Jefferson County.
Whose strategic plan is this?
I ask that you stop threatening our teachers and students. Stop calling us names when we exercise our constitutional rights, and stop dismissing everyone who disagrees with you.
We, the people of Jefferson County, hereby demand that you publicly censure yourselves.
My children are not your guinea pigs, and yet you are hijacking their chance at the strong academic foundation that I have chosen for them.
The 5 board members were clearly at odds, and it got about as heated as a school board meeting possibly can.
Ms. Dahlkemper, please don't interrupt. I would point out this.
I think the only interruption, Mr. Witt,
I would point out that
Ms.
this
Williams, I'm interested
proposal.
in your opinion, not Mr. Witt's opinion. At this time, he did not introduce the resolution. You did. Are you willing to withdraw?
She's the floor.
Are you willing to withdraw the resolution?
I would like to further discussion and allow Mr. Witt to have a chance to say his mind.
In the end, the board passed a modified version of the proposal, but the controversy continues.
Okay. Now, there was a dad now, as far as I can remember, I can't even find the video. But what I can describe to you, it was about... Oh, I found the video. Let's take a look.
To sit here and hear that, oh, this is an internal matter, I can't get my head around that. If I or anybody in here walked up and threw any of you out of a chair and started kicking you, you know how many phones would be up to somebody's ear calling the police? And we're talking about a 5-year-old autistic child, much less my child or anybody's child. It's just, I question whether any of you are qualified to sit up at this board. I remember some of you being here in the last few meetings I've been to. So this isn't just news. This didn't just pop out to y'all here like it did to us. You've been knee deep in it. And just to look at you is just so difficult. I hear these flowery speeches and we're sorry. Well, sorry is a little late. And to not be angry is, it's not my child. I'm not angry for those people and those parents. I'm angry for everybody else. I hear stories about children being duct taped. Who the hell do people think you are? I think come election time it needs to be not just Mr. Grant that goes, but that principal needs to leave.
Yep.
The assistant superintendent needs to leave. And y'all need to be replaced. Maybe what we need is less education, more common sense.
Yep.
Because common sense, it seems to me, that teacher's been rubber-roomed, would have been gone, this would have been out in the public, and it would have been handled properly, because what we're doing right now is bouncing off the wall. I've never seen so much anger out of people that I consider to be so tame and pacifistic. I've never seen anger. I'm looking at mothers that walk around pulling, and they want to rip your arms off. And it's just an abomination I see in front of me, and I can only say you're lucky it was not my child. You're fortunate it was not my child that was thrown to the ground and killed. So you need to really get it together. Because I can guarantee the conversations I've had with people, election time comes up and we know everybody's name here. And you need to make it happen, because I just don't see you being here much longer.
Okay. This was all about a case that happened in California where a teacher was kicking an autistic child. One of the comments said. We're going to end our back to school month on Gimme Break Sunday, and at that time we're going to finish our greatest hits, looking into a lot of other things. So, that's Gimme a Break for this Saturday. We will see you again for Gimme Break Sunday for the final day of our back to school month. For all of us here at Give Me a Break and YouTube, good night, everyone.